one of the common things that comes up over and over is sellers not being prepared to sell their properties in so many different aspects. So our hope is to get you prepared if you're a seller and if you're getting ready to sell. And Melissa's got some really great insights to share.
So, Amelia, we're seeing these common threads of lack of preparedness. And I think that, frankly, we're in a really busy spring market. So people are thinking, oh, I'm just going to put my house up and not worry about it. Well, the things that you may have, the skeletons in your closet, are going to come forward. And I'll give you a quick example. I had a client recently, came together very quickly. We had to close in 2 weeks, cash transaction, right? It's a dream. So I contacted the client. I said, I need to get your mortgage payoff. And he said, have any liens shown up against the title? That's a red flag. If the client thinks that there's a lien against the title, I need to be aware of it. I said, actually, we don't have the title back yet. Do you expect there to be any liens? Is there anybody you've not paid? Water authority, sewer authority, real estate taxes, the IRS. These things can all come out of the shadows. And I think that a lot of times sellers are hoping that it's not going to show up because they may not want to tell you as their real estate advisor or me as their attorney. But taking the time to have that dialogue when you're first listing the property is so, so critically important, because there are other transactions where we see old creditors. I have one right now. It was a bankruptcy. They thought that the debt was discharged in a bankruptcy, and it's with an old credit card company. So now we've got to go back to the original credit card company and secure the payoff. This could take 5 or 6 weeks. And the only reason that we even knew about it is because the real estate advisor that was involved in the transaction poked online and said, I think we may have a problem here, Melissa. Can you get in touch with the sellers and do a quick title search? Which, of course, we did on behalf of the sellers before the listing, because this is the kind of preparedness that is going to allow for a smooth transaction, opposed to getting the side swipe later.
Are there any liabilities to a seller withholding information and, outside of course, stalling a transaction? Is there any legal ramifications a buyer could use against them?
Certainly, the purchase and sales agreement prescribes that the seller has to convey clear title, Emilio. So if the seller cannot convey clear title and cannot produce documentation, whether it be mortgage payoffs or discharges, within a reasonable amount of time, ultimately the buyer could terminate the contract, get their deposit back, and move on. So that would be the biggest liability. However, there's also the idea that the buyer doesn't want to move on, but now may be facing really big expenses as a result of those delays, carrying costs, rate lock extensions for their mortgage interest rate. We're in a really difficult pricing environment with mortgage interest rates. I have one right now. It was delayed only 1 week due to an unforeseen issue on the seller side, and it costs almost $550. That's a lot of money for a buyer. It's a lot of money for a seller. It's a lot of money for anybody. And that's only a week. So as a seller, if you're upfront and forthcoming about this information, I think it will benefit you, so that hopefully you can avoid those delays and the costs associated with that.